Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and this is a vlog of my late autism and ADHD diagnostic process. I've actually been vlogging since just before I actually realized that I might be autistic. My first couple of videos basically focus on aphantasia and my memory disorder called SDAM, which is severely deficient autobiographical memory. And I had started the channel for that. That's why my username is I am mind blind, because aphantasia is also called mind blindness. And I'd only been doing the channel, I think, for about a month. I was going through the diagnostic process for my teenagers when I started to realize that I also might be autistic. And I was like, hey, I might as well just vlog this process to find out, because I figured that there's probably a lot of people who are starting to suspect maybe I'm autistic from hearing other people on social media talk about it. And even if it turns out that I'm not, then that would be really good information for people to have also, because if it's not autism, then what is it? Well, it turns out that I am autistic and ADHD. I got diagnosed of October 2022, officially diagnosed, whatever, medically diagnosed. Although I do feel that self-diagnosis, for the most part, is valid. My only caveat for the most part is that it has to be rigorous, where people are going through the DSM and understanding, not just watching one or two videos on TikTok. And most of the people who say they're autistic are not doing that. They are doing a lot of rigorous research into trying to understand why their brain and why they are the way they are. I was extremely high masking. For the last year and 8-ish months, have been working on unmasking. And the autistic mask is a survival mechanism that your brain starts when you're very young and you're undiagnosed and you're not receiving the supports that you need as an autistic individual, and having ADHD also. And so you start to mask all the things that make you feel weird, or people will correct you, like fidgeting. If I got told I was wiggling too much in class, teachers would tell me to be still. So I would teach myself to stop fidgeting, which is very, it's a regulation technique for an autistic person. A lot of things we would mask is forced eye contact. I never thought one of the reasons why there's Milo. One of the reasons why I never thought I was autistic, because the very harmful stereotype that autistic people never make eye contact. And that's not 100% true, because there's so many people like myself who are so high masking. We kind of learned how to either fake it or just force ourselves to make eye contact, even if it was uncomfortable. Now that I've been unmasking and I let myself not make eye contact with people, it is so much, it's like my brain relaxing. It's a way to just, it feels so much better. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Forcing eye contact just keeps you in a heightened sense of alertness. So think about if you are not autistic and you are in a survival situation for real, like you are in a jungle and you know that there could be poisonous snakes and cougars or whatever all around, and you need to be on alert. That is kind of like what an autistic person is experiencing in daily life. Our bodies and our nervous systems are on constant alert to fit into society's narrow box of what a person or a human should be. And as people know, staying in that constant high alert, keeping that stress hormones up so high, causes trauma. And that's why pretty much most late diagnosed autistic people also have complex PTSD, CPTSD. So anyway, that isn't even what I was going to start this video on. A lot of times I turn on the camera and I never know what's going to come out. I like to process out loud, and I just like to kind of let my thoughts flow. This channel's been such a good way for me to kind of learn to have a space to unmask and just kind of be myself and process and find community and that kind of thing. Yesterday I saw a post on social media and it resonated so much, and it's something that I've tried to say in different ways, but I really like the way that this person put it. I'm going to read it. It was somebody whose username is Queen Queerly. They said, what's more difficult, dealing with a neurotypical person or dealing with an autistic person who has fully internalized neurotypical thinking? And I responded back to them. I said, yes, this. I keep trying to explain this phenomenon and it's so hard. I'm so glad you get it. I was the second, like before my diagnosis, I had internalized neurotypical thinking. But I'm coming out of it and it feels like I'm relearning my native language, which is autism. And what I mean by that is like, I've said this before in the channel, like this is something that I've been trying to like find a way to communicate. When I would watch autistic characters on TV, and the few times where I was in a room with somebody who was actually diagnosed autistic and they had that diagnosis, there was always some sort of relatability that I've had with that person. I just understood them. It's because I was autistic and didn't know it, right? But there was a way where I'm trying to like, it's really hard. But the things that autistic people tend to do naturally with direct communication and being very blunt, it's like it was soothing to my soul. When I am talking to somebody who also will be that way, and we're both on the same wavelength, like, okay, we're just being direct, but don't take it personally, because what we're saying isn't personal. We're just trying to get to the information. We're just trying to get to the understanding. And I don't have to put on that social layer of worrying about the other person's feelings. It is extremely soothing, and that's what I'm saying about my native language. It's like my native state of being. But because I was undiagnosed, and because I was masking so many years, and because I took so many personal development courses over the years, I learned how to internalize that neurotypical thinking. Okay, what?
I was just wondering if you were open to taking a break on that and talking with me before our class a little bit.
Oh, I forgot you have art class.
So I just felt like
Okay. Yeah, sure.
But I know you also.
Okay, I'm a mom first and a vlogger second, so my daughter needed to talk to me, so I paused the video, but I'm gonna get back on track. So I was talking about how fully internalized neurotypical thinking, and I really love how this person phrased that, because it's like another way of saying the word masking, but it's much more specific, which obviously is something that delights my autistic brain. And like I said, I've been to so many personal development courses, and you'll find that I'm like, oh my gosh, is my dog gonna go to the bathroom behind me on camera? I sure hope not. That's Milo, and Watson's right down here. I don't know if you can see him. Anyway, please don't poop on camera, Milo. I went to so many personalized development seminars, and you'll find that a lot of really high masking women and men too, or non-binary, they do, because it's like we're trying to figure out how to be human. What are the correct, things to say in certain situations? And what that did was basically just teach me how to mask harder, and it taught me how to get by in a neurotypical world, but I never understood it because my brain is autistic. It is not allistic, which is the opposite, right? So I can sort of observe neurotypical behaviors and I can mimic them, but I'm never going to, from the inside out, understand it. But just like internalized ableism, there's this internalized neurotypical thinking where I masked my natural way of wanting to communicate so much that it was kind of even hidden from my view. But when I'm around another autistic person and we both realize we are talking to each other as actual autistic people, not as masking autistic people, then there's just this like big sigh of relief. But if you meet an autistic person who is still masking and is still using internalized neurotypical thinking, like thinking the way that neurotypical people think, that can be almost even more difficult to communicate with.
Still fall into these neurotypical thought patterns too. I had many more years being trained to think as a neurotypical than allowing my natural autistic way of thinking to be expressed.
So yesterday was a busy day, and you'll see me here today in my pajamas. For my blind viewers, I did put a little makeup on, but I'm still in my pajamas because yesterday took up so many spoons that today I didn't have the energy to do a video and get dressed. And so a lot of times you'll see me filming in my pajamas because that's just all the spoons I have. And if you don't know what spoons are, I'm not going to explain that here. You can Google spoon theory with chronic or disabled people and it'll explain it all the way through. But that's why I'm in my pajamas today. They're cute pajamas. It's a maroon top with like kind of a plaid-ish maroon bottoms. But yesterday was so busy and I was meeting up with a new friend, and because I was really excited and energized to meet this new friend, I got in this really cute outfit. I did my makeup really cute. I was really excited about it. And she is somebody that I met online in a local mom's Facebook group, and we've been chatting back and forth for a couple of months, and we connected because we're both late diagnosed autistic. And so going to meet her in person for the first time, there was just kind of this ease because I knew she was autistic. She knows I'm autistic. There was like this just understanding that we didn't have to mask in front of each other. And lunch just like got off to such a great start. Like we were laughing so hard, and it's just different because in the past, if I've met somebody, because it's one way that I know how to make friends is to connect with somebody online and then try to meet them in person. That's one of my like methods for trying to meet people. But in the past, when I do that, I'm so nervous because I'm trying to make a good first impression. And I was always so masked. I wasn't myself, but I didn't know it. I didn't know I was masking, but I was in that whole big, long stress response that I was telling you about before. This time, I was just myself. Like being unmasked autistic has this like freedom in a way. And she was unmasked and we just hit it off so well. Now, that's not to say that like just because two people are autistic, they're going to get along. There's a lot of autistic people that absolutely drive me crazy because we are all unique individuals, and like maybe their sensory needs are something that's opposite of me. Like I really need a lot of quiet, and so if there's an autistic person who has a high sensory need of echolalia and they're humming or making clacking noises or something like that to stimulate and regulate themselves, them being in the same room as me would not be good for either of us. So, and their responses, their need to regulate and make those noises is completely valid, but so is my need for quiet. So just because you've got two autistic people does not mean they're gonna just like instantly be like boom, magnetic personalities to each other, right? I love magnets. Oh, I love magnets so much. again, to my blind viewers, my fidget today is this magnet from the brand Specs, and it's like this silicone loop that kind of magnets together that you can kind of like, oh, here's my mic, click it together. And I have it on my Amazon shop if you want to find this. It's one of my favorite fidgets. So the other interaction that I had yesterday, that was kind of a social interaction, was by the end of the day, because I had a lot of driving to do, which really is overstimulating for me. I'm a good driver. I'm a really good driver, but I don't have to drive in traffic very much. And this week, because one of my kids is in a day camp in the next city over, I'm doing a lot more driving in traffic than I'm used to, which is fine. It's just for, it's like a week and a half, but it's still outside of my normal routine, so it's overstimulating. And then I also had lunch with this friend, which was a new person. So even though I wasn't masking, it was still, again, a new kind of experience, new things to navigate. Well, then I got a text from another friend, and it's weird. I feel like my social life is like peaks and valleys. It seems like everything hits at once, and then I'll go this deep, like, okay, where are all my friends? They all disappear. It's like we all go in hibernation at the same time. I don't know. It's like when it rains, it pours. I can have a week where it's like, I have no friends. Where are all my friends? Like, nobody will talk to me. And then the next week, all of a sudden, I've got tons of social. And I'm like, why can't this be more even? That's neither here nor there. So yesterday evening, one of my friends texted me and asked if I would like to go to lunch later this week. And she's been extremely busy. A couple videos ago, I was actually talking about her with RSD. Her life has been very, very busy right now. And so when she had lunch availability, I'm like, yes, I really would love to see you. Let me make this work. Well, I've been doing all this driving, and so I was trying to figure out how to schedule it where I could meet her for lunch. And my brain was starting to like short wire because all of these thoughts and considerations were like popping into my brain. And because I'm like learning to unmask, and she's allistic, so I communicate with her differently than I do with somebody who is autistic. But she's very autistic affirming. She's very much willing to kind of like listen to what my needs are. And I texted her back, and I'm like, I have so many thoughts that I'm just going to write them all down so that we can figure out how to do lunch. Because in the past, I would have been so overwhelmed, and my brain would have said, there's no way to make this work, just say no. But I knew we could make it work. I just had to tell her what all my concerns, all the things that felt really big in my brain. Like my brain was making everything feel big and chaotic, when in reality, it wasn't even a big deal. But like, I'm going to go ahead and like kind of read out some of it. I'm going to change some of the details because I keep my privacy where I'm located and stuff. But I literally texted her. I'm like, yes, I would love to meet you for lunch. My brain is overwhelmed today. So if you don't mind, I'm going to type out my thoughts. One of those stupid stray hairs. Number one, my first thought is something downtown might be fun. If we do something not downtown, I'm going to have to figure out timing for number two. Number two, I have to pick my kid up from camp in the next city over at 3 o'clock. So if we are in downtown, I need to leave between 2:15 and 2:30, depending on the traffic. Number 2A, if you need to leave before I need to leave, that's okay. I can chill in my car before I go pick up my kid. Because again, that was just like a concern in my head. Like, oh, if they can't stay, then they're going to worry that I'm going to, like, and I don't have time to go home. It was really no big deal. But in my brain, it was like a concern. And number 3, I have no strong opinions on where we go, but I can throw out some suggestions. And so I threw out, several different suggestions that are places that I like and recommend and I would feel comfortable going to. I do like going to new restaurants sometimes, but When I'm overwhelmed, a new restaurant's not the best idea for me. And I joked with her and I said, laugh out loud, LOL, because I'm an exennial. Welcome to my brain. Actually, it seems less chaotic now that I typed it out than when it was in my head. And then she's like, downtown works great. Let's do this place. I can stay as long as you need me to stay. And I was like, communication. So the last thing that I want to say, and I have no idea how long this video is because I've started and stopped so much, my timer is whack. But I'm just not going to let time be a factor, and I'm just talk as I need to. So that's me kind of masking again because I am so concerned about other people's time and attention that I feel like I don't get to take up time, space, or energy. And so I'm always like, oh, I need to say everything I need to say as fast as I can to respect other people. And that's something I'm also trying to work on. And you're either going to watch or you're not going to watch. And that's okay. But yeah, how long or short my videos is constantly always going in the background of my brain. And I'm like, just let it go. Just let it go. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was, it's not the double empathy problem. That's something else. I forgot the word for this, guys. If I can find it, I'll put it on the screen. But basically, what a lot of high masking autistic people do is they learn from a very young age how to regulate their emotions, and they learn to regulate the emotions of the people around them to keep themselves safe. So what that means is the reason why we're masking, while our brain does this survival mechanism technique, and it's like we will do a thing to make the person that we're talking to happy, because if they're happy, that's going to keep us safe. So like me making sure that my audience isn't bored by my videos, then that's going to keep y'all happy, which will keep me happy. That's not a really great example, but it's kind of what just popped in my head with the timing thing. But like, for instance, in a lot of households, if there was an autistic person who needed to fidget a lot and it was driving a parent crazy, we would specifically stop fidgeting so that it doesn't make that parent angry. So we are regulating an adult's emotions for them, while the adult should really have more emotional regulation on their own self and be like, hey, this child needs to get out this energy. Let's find a safe way to make everyone happy. I'm not going to yell at them for doing something that they need to do to regulate their nervous system. Unfortunately, most people aren't taught how to regulate their nervous systems. And so autistic people just innately learn how to adapt our behaviors so that we are regulating the emotions of the people around us in a way. I just wanted to add that on there. It seemed like it fits somehow. I don't know. The last thing that I'm going to say is that I do appreciate you watching my videos. As a content creator, this is the first way that I have made money since my early 20s. So it actually means a lot to me that my channel is monetized and that I do put a lot of thought and work and effort into making these videos. And sometimes I forget, like, because I get so much out of it, I feel like, oh, I shouldn't get paid for it because the innate joy that I get by making the content. But even though I hate capitalism, it is the system that we live in, and creative people, including myself, do deserve to get paid for what we are producing in the world, because that's the system we live in. I would love for it to be a different system where I could live off just the enjoyment that I get by creating these videos. Unfortunately, my enjoyment, that's just not how the world works. So I appreciate every single person who watches, because when you watch, I get money through the ad revenue. And then I also do have an Amazon affiliate link. And anytime that you buy one of the things that are in my storefront, I get a couple pennies, and it really does add up. But the other cool thing that a lot of people don't know about is if you go and click on any of your favorite creators, not just me, but any of your favorite creators, their Amazon links, even if you don't buy the thing that you clicked on, if you make a purchase from Amazon in that from that click, so like if you click on this fidget toy and you're like, that's out of my budget, I don't want it, but I do need to buy shampoo from Amazon today, and you put shampoo in your cart, then I actually get credit for you buying shampoo, and I actually get like a couple cents off your shampoo. So Amazon would have taken all of that money for shampoo, but instead they take a couple of cents and they give it to whoever's link that you clicked on as a creator. So we all, as creators, appreciate it when you click on our links. And I just wanted to throw that out there because it's just a really amazing way to support a creator that doesn't cost you any money for anything that you weren't going to buy anyway. So, and if you don't support Amazon and you don't ever buy from Amazon, I respect that too. So no need if you don't use Amazon. Until the next video, bye guys.